Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Again, thank you for having this discussion. It was interesting today that some of the words that came out, smoking keyboards, stop the bleeding, doomsday machine. I mean, it almost seems like a 60s movie in some ways. Hopefully it has a happy ending. One of the things that did strike me was that you said we need to have a robust discussion in our country, and I think we are starting to have that, to be frank. Everyone's afraid of losing their personal information, especially their Social Security number. And we need to penalize the cyber criminals. I think that gets tough if they're, if they're the top-ranked, these nations, these foreign nations. I mean, that is a difficult situation, and we need to lean forward. We have the capabilities, the doomsday machine. What doomsday machine? I'm not familiar with any doomsday machine. What, Mr. Souffleur, I think you were the one that mentioned the doom. We have the doom. What doomsday? What are you talking about?
Meant to be. It was meant to demonstrate that we have offensive capabilities that can be brought to bear as well. And if you don't articulate and to some extent be transparent about that, our perpetrators
Well, let's talk about that, because I think what you meant is maybe disrupt them. In other words, if they're disrupting us, we disrupt them more. Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean by these capabilities? I mean, one thing is trying to find out who they are, and it sounds like we have the capabilities to do that, to figure out now who are the perpetrators, and it seems like we're getting better and better at that. So we find out it's Russia. What do we do?
That's way after the fact, though. So to Richard's point, there's steps that can be taken left of boom, or in this case, before an actual breach and or incident occurs. And in terms of some of our capabilities, sometimes all you need to do is demonstrate that, and that has a net deterrent effect or can dissuade. It can raise the stakes, make the penalties high, that they may decide not to engage in this activity. So what we're really talking about is inducing changes in behavior. If people feel that they can get away with this, and get away with this in a wanton kind of way, you're going to see more and more and more and more activity. So the point is how do we shift that equation where you raise the costs?
Sir, if I could just quickly say, this is sort of like an American football game where you have the Patriots versus the Broncos. Tom Brady plays against the Broncos defense, and Peyton Manning plays against the Patriots defense. We need our Tom Brady going against their Peyton Manning. In other words, our offense disrupting their offense.
I like the football analogies. I mean, I was a linebacker. I like the blitzing linebacker. Yeah, it's fun to tackle the quarterback. But I guess my question really is this. It seems like you can figure out who these guys are, but then how do you punish them, really, honestly? At the end of the day, I mean, how do you go and you punish them? You have all these companies in China that are stealing our information. How do you, at the end of the day, punish them other than strict sanctions? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, sir, at the operational level, I have seen these guys attacking targets and slowing down and not being able to accomplish their mission because of friction introduced by the defender. If you are an attacker and someone is suddenly attacking your system, kicking you off the target, kicking you off your own system, maybe deleting your system, they're going to have, that raises the cost quite a bit. And many times we think that these guys are 10 feet tall and bulletproof. They're guys who are sitting in uniform, 18 years old, following a script, essentially.
Let me get to one thing I did want to get to before my time runs out, and that is, you did talk about Social Security. Someone's Social Security number was hacked, that there should be some protocols in place or something to be able to put that person back to where he or she was. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, because I think people are very interested in that.
Yes, sir. So when you steal a credit card and you lose a credit card, there's basically no cost to recover from that. When you lose your Social Security number, when you use your health care records, I don't know how you recover from that. You're looking at an unbounded cost. We need to replace the Social Security number with something that, if it's public, it doesn't matter. We need to move to a system where we acknowledge that if data gets out, there's a way for the customer to recover from that. And right now, when the Social Security number is used as a method of identification and authentication, if you know my social, you can log into websites, essentially. That has to be changed.
Anyone else want to comment on that? Because I think that is important, something that a little thinking outside of the box. And would you like to comment on that, sir?
Oh, sir, sorry. On your former point, I would say you mentioned sanctions, and I just point to the incredible work that the executive branch and Congress did with sanctions against Iran.
If I could interrupt you for just one second. One of the things that was interesting, I'm from California. Of course, we have great capabilities there. But the FBI, the Treasury, has been named over and over again as models of doing a good job. Private companies are also. And I think that's important to note, because it seems today that we're talking mostly about the good work that the Federal Government has done, but as a California, I also want to...
Mr. Vargas, could I just pick up on that? Because I actually think the future is within the private sector, and not only domestically, but also in cooperation, concerted efforts with others.
Thank you. My time has expired. Thank you, Mr. Chair.